Okay, start.
So my extempore topic is political leadership versus corporate leadership. So basically, political leadership is leading a party. It could be national party or a state party, thereby leading the party into elections. And if that party comes in power, so they're like leading the state as a CM, or maybe through center, like through the rules of PM or any cabinet minister per se. And as far as corporate leadership is concerned, we have leadership in industry and MNCs, like organizations, where they are leading the teams and organizations like across verticals and horizontals. They are responsible for making the organization relevant. Like for example, these in the pandemic times, things have been changing a lot. So it's like the duty of corporate leaders to make make the organization relevant, and so that it's still profitable. Like they need to they are responsible for each and every domains and work. So basically, if we compare political leadership and corporate leadership, we can see a lot of commons. For example, like a lot of ethical, if we can say that values are really necessary. For example, integrity, emotional intelligence, persuasion, public leadership skills, and also like motivating the employees or the party cadre, or for example, even if they are in leadership positions, thereby how they are leading the country or their organization. If political leadership is it goes into wrong hand, it could have serious repercussions. And similarly for corporate leadership as such, it is also the same. So there need to be also like some checks and balances. How could we not give unlimited power to political leadership? And so in corporate leadership there are checks and balances, there are board of directors and checks and balances at every level. But in India, we have a democratic setup. If some party is in like a complete huge majority, then it could be like a leader could be also not bypassing cabinet and stuff. So we need to maintain a delicate balance between powers of political leadership person.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
So, so now, can you please give me some brief about your education and work experience?
And yes, sir. So I've done my engineering in computer science from IEERT Allahabad. After that, I worked for Sybase as a software developer, and where I had worked with for clients like Digital River, Google. And after that, I worked in Infosys, where I was working for Harley Davidson, and also an Indian client, DMart, where we had developed the DMart website, which and the app. After that, like sir, I had plans to like get into I wanted to prepare for UPSC, so I left my job and I'm preparing for UPSC. But I with like exhausting my attempts, I would so thinking of the career options, I came across this which is a institute with a social sensitivity, and my optional was also sociology. So it has helped, and it has helped me a lot. And also even in my UPSC preparation, I have learned about economy, politics, society, history, geography, and other domains, which have helped me a lot. And after pursuing this ODCL course from TEST, it would also help me in
Okay,
becoming
so
yeah.
Vinas, can you give me the chronological order or year wise? When did you completed your BTech?
So it was in 2012.
2012. And when did you leave your job?
So it was in 2017 October.
2017. So you worked for 5 years,
Yeah, around 4 years. Yeah.
around
Four.
4 years. And since 17, you are appearing for UPSC exams.
Sensitive. Yes, yes, sir.
So you will be also appearing this year's pre, or
No, I won't be. I won't be appearing, sir.
you won't be appearing. So when you understood that UPSC is not the path that you will be going to follow ahead, so how many other applications that you have applied, or how many other programs that you have applied? Like if you're looking for higher education, or you also can go
No,
back to corporate.
like so, like I'm having like considerable amount of corporate experience. So I've for now I have only applied to this HRM, ODCL, and analytics. These three courses as of now.
So why just these three courses? Can you give me a rationale behind your selecting HRM, OD, and analytics?
So like when like I came to know about like ODCL and HRM specifically, I went through their curriculum, and as far as ODCL is concerned, like I was like intrigued by the curriculum, especially learning and development part, and also how like the OD consultants
So
OD.
OD was your first choice,
It's my second choice, like in the
but you were
class.
telling me that OD, you looked OD as a better option.
Yeah, now I feel because I pursued a course on Swayam portal by Professor Ashish Pandey of IIT Mumbai on ODCL, and also I read a book, Worley and Cummins, for ODCL. So I have developed like considerable amount of interest and in OD.
In OD. So now you
Yeah.
think that OD would have been your first choice.
Yes, sir, definitely.
So can you differentiate between HR and OD, and what parameter you can say that OD would have been a better choice for you, or OD is better choice for you?
So HR is a vertical, like right, and OD is like, for example, there are a lot of verticals like finance, marketing, HRM, but OD is a horizontal which cuts across like all the domains. And if like there are like a company is going through a change, or it in order to company to stay relevant, like especially in these current times, and for example, we say that a specific industry, like it, if it is not sustainable, it goes out of business in 30, 40 odd years. But if we see a Tata's, and like for 160, 70 odd years, they have been staying relevant through their OD interventions. And also in India, if we talk about like OD was like first in India was done in Bank of Baroda, where they had like restructured their organization, and also L&T like had set up their OD department and HRM department. So it has helped them like sail through like ups and downs and changing business requirements. So they have like stood up and they have performed very efficiently.
Okay. So do you also know any example where even despite use of OD, or all the there is a department of OD and they are using OD as for their uh, organizational problem solving, but still they got failed.
Yes, sir. So if in the pioneering years only, the health department of government of India had like hired a lot of OD consultants, and but the role of OD consultants was to just give the feedback, and they were not involved in like implementing those changes. So right, but it failed. It did fail because like OD consultants, like they just gave their feedback. And also in a lot of other recently some startups were hired by even Tata and Wipro. So the asset, and so those startups could not fare like really well. However, a lot of OD consultants were involved in it.
Okay, so what are the other universities which provide OD courses in India?
So right now in India, only TIS is providing a full-time OD course.
Not no other university.
No full time, but they like in some B schools they are teaching like change management. For example, I am Ahmedabad is like having this like few months session or
Okay, so
module.
the entire program that we have is OD and change and leadership. So how do you think that all these three are related?
So organization, development, change, and leadership, they are all intrinsic, like they are linked with each other. in an organization in order to in to grow organically and develop it, there should be a leadership which should be driving that change. And if the change is happening as the company is evolving, it should cater to the changing environment and business policies or government policies. For example, if we take the changing IT rules, or so the companies, in order to stay relevant and work with full vigor in India, they need to comply with these changes. And yeah, so all these are interrelated and very much integral.
Okay. So you have worked for Harley Davidson, like you have worked for Infosys, where you have worked had project for Harley
Yes,
Davidson.
sir. Yeah.
So what was that project?
So basically, Infosys was responsible for US, that in handling their entire US retail, where we could buy the bike, Harley bike, online, and it was also responsible for their uh, mm, developing the performance management system of Harley employees.
Okay. So have you do you know what is the present situation of Harley in India?
Present situation of Harley is that they have stopped, they had this proper earlier setup where they were exporting the bike, but the tax was so huge, and they were not profitable, so they had to wind up. And now if we have to order Harley bike, we have to do it through third parties, and the cost is many fold if we want to get a Harley bike in India.
So the low profitability or the failure of Harley. So can you say that their failure is also related to OD or lack of OD?
Yeah.
How?
Also, I would say that partially it is responsible. OD is responsible, but partially government policies and the intent of the leaders there back in US. It also depends on them that they didn't want to set up a manufacturing plant in India. If they have done that, if they would have involved OD practitioners in India and would have set up, because India is a huge market, 135 crores people, and also major 5 to 10% are they have lot of money, and they could easily buy a bike like this luxury bike sector. So but they missed out on it. And for example, Tesla, the electric vehicle, it is going to set up in India. So Harley would have followed that example, but they didn't. So yeah.
So let's come to the point where you're talking about Tesla. Can you have a SWOT analysis for Tesla? Tesla's effort or foray into Indian market. So what are the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat for Tesla?
So Tesla is in starting phase in India. They
So are
have
you talking about strength first?
yeah, strength.
Yeah.
So basically they are being backed for their manufacturing competency, and in electric vehicles domain they are the leading in the world. And so they could harness that expertise. And if they set up in India, and the cost of car on road is it is very I would say exciting enough to excite the Indian markets. It would be huge success in India. And also government is set. So weakness is that the infrastructure of electric vehicle per se, it's still not much developed in India. However, ministry Central Ministry of Roads and Transportation have come up with a policy where they are giving lot of incentives on setting up of charging stations. And so, and threats is that lot of companies have forayed
No,
into
so
this.
so you these were the opportunities you were talking about. So you
Yeah.
were talking about strength. What are the weaknesses that Tesla has?
So the weaknesses I could
For
watch.
especially this foray, for especially this
Yeah,
objective.
yeah, so I could gauge the weaknesses that in India, like already the major players from Mahindra and Mahindra, Tatas have declared their intent, and they are also much ahead of Tesla in India per se in setting up the electrical vehicles domain. And
Shouldn't we count it as a threat rather than weakness?
I was talking about threat and
So I
weakness
was
per.
asking about weakness first.
Acha, okay, sir. Yeah. So weakness per se, I don't really find that Tesla would be able, like, won't be like able to match up to the threats. But threats are there. For example, in India, sir, labor laws and like we saw that Apple manufacturing center in Tamil Nadu, it was raised by the laborers. So in India, first of all, labor laws, and if they have forayed into Bangalore, Karnataka, so we could also say that the law and order and infrastructure like basic electricity and even pooling of lands. So these are some issues which government of India, both central and state governments are like working really hard. We have moved like in ease of doing business from 140 rank to 63 rank in like in a matter of 3 to 4 years. So we are working on that. So I won't really say that there are threats, but there are some potential threats to Tesla in India.
Okay. Since we were talking about Tesla and we are very optimistic that Tesla can do better in Indian market. So do you
Yes.
know any car company or automobile company which had to close their business in India in last 5 or 10 years?
Yes, I guess Devu had like to like wind up their business and
And sorry.
right now like I'm not aware of yeah.
Okay. So do you have any idea about General Motors?
Yes, sir. Yeah, General Motors, right. They had like very huge plans, but they like had to wind up the factories.
So have you studied that? That what were the reason? What were the reason?
So I haven't studied that, but like I feel I would have like read an article about it. So if you allow me, so I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
like
I
take a
wanted.
guess.
I want to know what you think
Yeah.
about their.
So I feel that they were like facing like some issues through labor laws and from some hindrance from us government policies, and also their business was not profitable. And also there was if I like allow me to say that there were some uh, corrupt parts like assembled in their cars, so they had to like take a huge like chunk, do a rollback of like lot of cars in India.
Okay. So there was no quality issue or branding issues related to which can be matlab to which can be matlab we can say that these are the issues. These were also the issues for their
Yeah,
failures.
yeah, right, sir. Yeah.
नहीं, I was asking कि quality और branding issues का कोई issue नहीं था वहाँ पे.
So branding, as in it's, I don't feel that it would have been branding issues, but quality issues could have been there. Uh, and branding, yeah. So the if branding is the one thing, and like campaign, like brand management is another thing. So I feel that they would have like not performed like really well in brand management because they are an established brand out of India. Yeah.
Okay. So one GK question for you, which came to my mind where you were speaking about Harley Davidson failure or they could have succeeded if they have done follow or the other ways. So what is the per capita income for India?
So uh, I'm not like exactly, I'm aware of the exact figure, but it's like 46 to 47,000 per year.
Okay. So when you talk about it, the 5% of Indian population earns well and they can go for luxury products also.
Luxury product. Yeah,
So
luxury
what's the
bikes.
average income that you see for those 5%?
So like it would be like really for 5% of the people, like they are well, like they have lot of capital in the bank assets, like they have multi crores, like at least in the bank accounts, or they must be earning. For example, sir, like only 2 to 3% people like pay active income like income tax in India, right?
Mhm.
and rest of the 2 to 3% are those like who are having some of their like enterprise, and they are paying a GS through GST, or they are also in some other hospitality sector or anything, any service providers are there. So I gauged that and I came up with a figure that around 5% of the public, that makes it roughly like 5 to 6 crores of like people are like earning like much well, and they could easily afford luxury cars and bikings and even luxury
Okay.
apartments and
So
stuff.
another GK question for you would be, can you tell me, can you brief about the Indian industrial matlab, manufacturing industry? Uh, can you brief about the manufacturing sector of India?
So right now, Indian manufacturing sector is not doing as great, like as service sector has already like superseded it. But like now the government has like industrial relations and labor laws were 29 labor laws which were there since like British colonial era were condensed into 4 labor laws, and even ease of doing business is like we are improving, and government has also like uh, for they have come out with schemes like product link incentives PLI schemes for electronic sector, where interest subvention is being given. So the companies are setting up for example, lot of FDI has been coming. And if we take the last year example only, like we saw that Reliance had like investment from all the major blue chip companies, even from Abu Dhabi, Aramco, and Facebook, Google. And so we could easily say that in developing the manufacturing sector in India, it has a lot of potential. But
So
on the
all those
ground,
investment that Reliance are getting, will you count that in FDI or FII?
so it would be counted in FDI because yeah.
So what is the difference between FDI and FII?
So FDI is like some of the corporates or government bodies, they are investing directly into an entity that has something on ground. They have assets and they are investing, and in return they are getting some chunk of their like holdings, or like they are getting into the boards for example. And so but FPIs are like they are large huge sum of amounts like which are directly invested in. For example, in stock market someone is investing thousands of crores, so that would be counted in a foreign portfolio investment. We have a concept of hot money, so we could say that it's a kind of hot money. So FPIs could be like taken back uh, without even giving a notice, right? But for FDI, there are stringent rules. You have to register in an RBI office, and so it's not easy to like just like get away with your sum without like without following a set of procedures and laws. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have worked in two companies.
Yes, sir.
So which of one of them has better HR practices, had better HR practices, and why?
Sir, Sybage was a mid-sized company, not mid-sized company. Like it had a lot of clients like Google and Microsoft, like since 1980s and 1990s, and it was also a ISO 9005 certified company. But Infosys was a like uh, complete altogether another experience. Like it was a very large organization, and there were a lot of verticals and domains itself divided there. And in Sybase, like it was a purely a CXO thing. There were not as such. There were domains and verticals, but it was not comprehensively done as it was in Infosys. All the businesses were divided there.
Okay, thank you very much. uh, as per मार्क्स, अगर तुम बोलोगे हमें वो करने के लिए, जस्ट मिनट, सो 70 के आसपास तुम्हारा एक्सटेम्पोर का मार्क्स होगा, है ना?
Okay, sir.
टॉपिक क्या था हमारा, एक बार फिर से बताना।
सर ये पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप वर्सेस
हाँ, नहीं नहीं
कॉर्पोरेट
नहीं, इसमें
लीडरशिप।
थोड़ा सा मतलब कहीं कहीं पे और कम भी करना पड़ेगा मुझे। तो इट यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट 65 to 70, क्योंकि थोड़ा कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव नहीं था वो, मतलब लीडरशिप स्टाइल वगैरह भी थोड़ा
हाँ हाँ
कन्वे
सर,
करना
वो
चाहिए था।
राइट राइट सर, इवन वो CSR एक्टिविटीज और वो स्टफ, वो तभी मुझे क्लिक नहीं किया, बट लेटर लाइक या।
टाइप ऑफ लीडरशिप भी थोड़ा करना चाहिए था, ऑल्दो यू हैव कवर्ड लॉट मेनी पॉइंट्स। और इंटरव्यू में आई एम गिविंग यू अगेन 70 to 75 ओनली, है ना, और इट कुड बी लिटिल लेस आल्सो। द
ओके।
रीजन बिहाइंड, मतलब कुछ कुछ प्रॉब्लम है तुम्हारे साथ, यू डोंट फॉलो द क्वेश्चन, मतलब एक्चुअली यूपीएससी का प्रिपरेशन तुमने किया है, सो यू नो अ लॉट, यू ट्राई टू मिक्स एवरीथिंग इन एन आंसर। सो आपको
यस सर, हाँ।
बेसिकली, हाँ, आपको बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट रहना पड़ेगा अबाउट आंसरिंग द क्वेश्चन। जैसे अगर मैं तुमसे, हाँ, एक तो यहीं से स्टार्ट करो कि व्हेन आई टोल्ड यू टू टॉक अबाउट योर एजुकेशन एंड एक्सपीरियंस, सो यू डायरेक्टली वेंट फॉर योर बीटेक। उससे पहले का क्या, एजुकेशन मैटर नहीं
जी
करता?
सर, यस यस या सर,
करता है
या।
ना? तो वो तुम्हें जरूर बताना चाहिए, बिकॉज एवरी एजुकेशन डज मैटर,
राइट, या।
है ना।
आई
तो
स्टार्ट फ्रॉम,
फर्स्ट,
या, फ्रॉम
हाँ, तो
स्कूल,
अपने
या।
स्कूल से
ओके।
लेके, बिकॉज द क्वेश्चन जो पूछा गया है वो जरूर रिस्पॉन्ड होना चाहिए। दूसरी बात है, जब हम एचआर और ओडी के डिफरेंस पूछ रहे थे, तो यू मोस्टली फोकस्ड अबाउट ओडीज के फायदे एंड ओडीज का काम, यू नेग्लेक्टेड द एचआर पार्ट। तो और इतना भी नहीं है कि यू कैन मतलब डिस्टिंक्टली या फिर उसको बिल्कुल अलग अलग रख सकते हो। देयर आर एन नंबर ऑफ टास्क व्हिच इज
यस सर, या।
ओवरलैपिंग।
या।
अगर किसी कंपनी में ओडी का डिपार्टमेंट नहीं है, दैट डजंट मीन वहाँ ओडी नहीं होता है।
राइट राइट
तो इतना भी अलग अलग नहीं है, ओवरलैपिंग है।
सर। सो लाइक व्हाट आई कुड डू दैट, पहले HR का थोड़ा बता के, देन OD
हाँ,
का बता के,
तो जो
एंड।
तुमने वर्टिकल बोला ना, इसको तुम
जी
थोड़ा
सर।
ऐसे बता सकते थे कि फंक्शनल रोल्स जब हम करते हैं, विच इज रेगुलर फॉर अ कंपनी, लाइक एम्प्लॉय एंगेजमेंट,
राइट,
ट्रेनिंग एंड
या।
डेवलपमेंट, सैलरी, कंपनसेशन, सिलेक्शन, रिक्रूटमेंट, है ना, विच इज अ रेगुलर टास्क। ओटी इज लाइक प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड या चेंज बेस्ड, कि हमें ये नहीं, अभी ऐसा
राइट
कुछ
राइट
करना है।
राइट
तो
राइट, आई
उसकी
गॉट इट।
उस चीज को हम ओडी कहते हैं, एंड ओडी इज क्रॉस फंक्शनल। ऑफ कोर्स एचआर भी क्रॉस फंक्शनल होता है ना। ऐसा तो है नहीं कि एचआर के लोग सिर्फ एचआर के लोगों को मैनेज करते हैं। दे टॉक एंड दे थिंक एंड दे ट्राई टू एंगेज पीपल फ्रॉम ऑल ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट, है ना। तो सिमिलरली ओडी भी क्रॉस फंक्शनल होता है। तो ऐसा कुछ बिल्कुल अलग अलग करके बताने की जरूरत नहीं है। वंस यू लॉस्ट द कॉल ऑफ एचआर, और आया भी होता तब भी, आप एक इंटरव्यू में दूसरे सब्जेक्ट को बिल्कुल
डिमीन नहीं कर सकते,
डिमीन
राइट।
करके नहीं बात कर
जी
सकते, और
सर,
डिमीन करने
चीज
की
ये
जरूरत
सही।
भी नहीं है, एचआर का
हाँ
ही
सर,
पार्ट है ओडी, है ना।
एग्जैक्टली, या।
तो फिर उसके बाद जब हम आपसे जैसे वो पूछा, मैंने स्वॉट पूछा, तो उसमें बोलना चाहिए से स्ट्रेंथ ये है, वीकनेसेस ये है,
हाँ सर, उसमें
अपॉर्चुनिटीज ये।
मिक्स्ड हो गया था थोड़ा।
हाँ, तो
या।
स्ट्रेंथ बोलते
या।
बोलते यू वेंट फॉर
जी सर,
अपॉर्चुनिटी।
राइट राइट।
तो वो ध्यान देना चाहिए तुम्हें। एंड अपॉर्चुनिटी में क्या काउंट होगा, ऑल्दो मतलब स्वॉट ऐसे नहीं किया जाता है जैसे मैंने पूछा। स्वॉट में क्या होता है कि इवन योर स्ट्रेंथ कैन बी वीकनेस फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जेक्टिव,
एग्जैक्टली।
है ना, और वीकनेस कैन बी स्ट्रेंथ फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जेक्टिव। तो वीकनेस और वीकनेस तो तुमने बोला एक भी है ही नहीं, ऐसा तो बोलना ही नहीं चाहिए, है ना कुछ तो सोचते
पोटे
तो तुम्हें दिख ही
हाँ,
जाता।
पोटेंशियल वीकनेसेस
पोटेंशियल
बताता हूँ।
वीकनेस क्या हो सकता था। फिर लास्ट में जो है, जो डिफरेंशिएट करने के लिए बोला मैंने तुम्हें एचआर प्रैक्टिसेस के,
हाँ सर।
तुमने मोस्टली एचआर को डिफरेंशिएट कर दिया या कंपनी टाइप डिफरेंशिएट कर दिया। मैं प्रैक्टिस डिफरेंशिएट करने की बात कर रहा था। तुम ऐसे बोल सकते थे कि उनका रिक्रूटमेंट का प्रोसेस ये था, इनका
अच्छा,
रिक्रूटमेंट का
ओके
प्रोसेस ये
ओके
था,
सर।
एचआर प्रैक्टिसेस का डिफरेंशिएशन था ना, है ना। इनके
हाँ,
इनके
ओके
ट्रेनिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट का अप्रोच ऐसा था, इनके ट्रेनिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट का अप्रोच ऐसा था।
ओके सर, आई
इन
डिडंट गेट दैट क्वेश्चन।
तो मैं तो बहुत वो क्लियरली पूछा था मैंने, एचआर
हाँ
प्रैक्टिस।
सर। हाँ, इस ये ऐसे बता, राइट सर।
हाँ, मतलब बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन में यू आर लाइक, इधर यू आर स्पीकिंग लॉट मेनी डिफरेंट थिंग देन द आंसर, और या फिर तुम आंसर ही नहीं कर रहे थे वो क्वेश्चन का। एक एफडीआई और एफआईआई में भी तुम कंफ्यूज हो आई थिंक। जब जैसे जैसे अगर कोई बाहर की कंपनी जो है बिना मैनेजमेंट राइट के इन्वेस्ट करती है, तो इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है। तो इफ रिलायंस हैज गॉट मनी फ्रॉम अदर कंट्री विदाउट एनी मैनेजमेंट राइट्स ऑफ दोस कंपनी, तो वो इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट है, वो एफडीआई नहीं है। गेटिंग माय
सर।
पॉइंट। जैसे जैसे
हम्म।
मैं अपनी कंपनी में यूएस से 2 करोड़ रुपया ले लूं,
जी
एंड
सर।
एंड आई एम नॉट गिविंग देम एनी स्कोप ऑफ स्कोप फॉर पार्टिसिपेशन इन एनी डिसीजन मेकिंग, तो बेसिकली उन्होंने मेरे बिजनेस में इन्वेस्ट किया एंड दे विल बी टेकिंग मनी आउट ऑफ इट, जो भी प्रॉफिट आएगा। सो दे डोंट हैव एनी मैनेजमेंट रोल। इस तरह की इन्वेस्टमेंट को इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट कहते हैं। एफडीआई इज मोर लाइक पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन द बिजनेस फंक्शन,
ओके।
मैनेजमेंट रोल के साथ। बस इतना ही
हाँ सर।
डिफरेंस तुम्हें करना है। जो बाकी चीजें तुम बता रहे थे कि आरबीआई का ये सब होता है, उसके बाद बता देते तब भी ठीक है, नहीं बताते तब भी ठीक है ना?
ओके सर, हाँ
तो
फाइन।
हाँ, तो मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि रिलायंस को जो भी इन्वेस्टमेंट मिला है, हाँ, और वो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर का डिटेल थोड़ा तुम्हें रखना चाहिए, क्योंकि
हाँ
तुम
सर,
यूपीएससी
वो अभी
प्रिपेयर।
टच अप ब्रश अप नहीं किया है सर, थोड़ा।
कितना परसेंट है इंडिया में, कौन सी इंडस्ट्री में
हम्म।
ज्यादा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, कौन सी मतलब ज्यादा
हम्म।
मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कहाँ होता है।
राइट।
और एक और चीज मैंने पूछी थी, हाँ, इनकम का भी एनालिसिस तुम्हारे पास होनी चाहिए
हाँ सर।
इंडिया में। रेस्ट वाज फाइन, और बाकी सब जगह तुमने ठीक ठीक ही जवाब दिया।
सर
तो हम्म,
सर लाइक रिगार्डिंग सोशल इश्यूज, ये उतना प्रिपेयर करना है क्या?
नहीं करना है, मतलब वी डिड नॉट गो इनटू दैट डोमेन, बट अगर एक बार कोई वहां